Truly appreciate you taking the time this afternoon. I do want it to be, somewhat informal. We're going to kind of have a bit of a discussion format. This is really an awareness and education seminar that I wanted to put on. Everybody in this room are existing clients of mine. So there's really, I want to put at ease that there's no sales pitch here. Okay, really what I wanted to do is how all of this came about was the fact that I've had quite a few clients that have downsized over the last year, about half a dozen. And I can tell you that I've found, and they've found, that there's a right way to go about it and a wrong way to go about it. And in a couple of cases, because of illness, they were actually forced into downsizing as opposed to wanting to downsize themselves, and they weren't prepared for it. And so I thought, you know what? I think this would be a really interesting seminar topic to get everybody together, even if you're not thinking about downsizing right away, but you know that you might have to do it eventually in 5 or 10 years. I think that you'll probably get something out of today's seminar. So just a couple of points of note. You might notice that we're mic'd up here, and there are some cameras around the room. Okay, there's a reason for that. Stone Mill, who's helping me do the seminar, they are going to be putting the presentation on a DVD, and we're going to be sending you all a DVD afterwards, so that you don't have to retain the massive amounts of information that's going to be flying at you today. You can always look back on anything we spoke about today. Okay, and also everybody, I think on the way in, got a package, right? In that package, there should be a pen in there. So that you can take notes. At the very end, we're going to do a question and answer period. Okay, so write down anything that comes to mind throughout the presentation. Remember, no question is too small. And if you guys are thinking about it and you're scared of asking, you know what? If you're thinking about it, there's a good chance there's probably a bunch of other people in the room that are thinking the exact same thing. Okay, and so just take. There's a copy of the presentation on the, I think, at the left-hand side of the folder in there. There should be kind of space under every slide that you're going to see. So by all means, jot down any notes that you want, or write down any questions that you might have that you want to ask at the end. Okay? So I know that when we were on the phone, there was the word downsize came up a lot. And you might even hear it slip now and then when we're talking. But in reality, in a lot of cases these days, the one thing that I'm finding is clients aren't really downsizing. It really is more of a right size. And if any of you have priced out a bungalow in North Burlington in the last little while, you're probably going to find that your 2-story, nice big lot on the south side of Burlington is about the same price as the bungalow in North Burlington that has a lot less land, but just happens to be 1 floor and more convenient for, maybe older clients who are looking for less stairs and things like that, right? So in a lot of cases, it's not even a downsize, but more finding something that you're going to be comfortable in. And that's another thing that we're going to discuss today. I want to take a quick poll across the room. Who's been in their house more than 40 years? Anybody in the room? There's actually quite a few in the room. Okay, keep your hands up. Who's been in their house more than 30 years? Okay, and who's been in their house more than 20 years? Now everybody put your hands up. And it's just about everybody in the room. Okay? So I think that, when you look at this seminar and why I thought it might be interesting, is because if you haven't been through this real estate process in the last 20, 30, or 40 years, the game has changed a little bit since the last time you bought or sold a house. And so I thought it would be interesting to give you guys the information as to how things work nowadays. You're always coming to me and hoping that we're able to maximize portfolio returns, right? Yet your biggest asset, in most cases, is your house. And I find in a lot of cases, people don't properly prepare the house for sale to maximize the value of that when they are going to sell it after 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, so just like you expect me to hopefully get your portfolio pretty, your house should be pretty when you get it ready for sale too. We're going to talk about that. So now, why did I partner with these guys? This is Ron James, and this is Aaron Fortune. And they're from Stone Mill Realty. there's a couple of different reasons. Number one is, first of all, I wanted to be able to partner with another professional that could help clients. I'd used another agent from a different company, one of the larger companies here in Burlington, and I'd had a couple of clients who'd come back to me and complained that the service level was just not to their liking and not to what the standards that they would be expecting. One of the reasons why I really like dealing with Stone Mill is they are a little bit smaller company. Okay, they're not going to have a massive amount of listings at the same time, and therefore they have a lot more time to pay attention to you as a customer. Okay, so service and kind of client, just that client friendliness and enhancing that client experience is one of the reasons why I partnered with them. And the other thing is that in most cases, just so that we get the cost issue out of the way, if any of you were wondering, and I'm sure you've talked to kids and neighbors and all kinds about cost, generally, the general real estate transaction nowadays, real estate fee is 6%. Okay? And what happens is, generally 3% will go to the buying agent, 3% will go to the selling agent. Okay? Now, what you can normally do is negotiate your way down, maybe to 5.5%, 5% if you've got a larger home to deal with. So that's the type of commission that you're looking at on a real estate transaction. How most real estate agents work is they work with guys like me on a referral fee system. Okay? So in other words, what would normally happen is I would get a 25% referral or incentive fee for referring business to them. Because of compliance and ethics, I can't take any payments from any other source than my current job. Okay? So what I've done is I said, okay, forget the 6% and the 25% referral fee. Take that 25% fee that you would normally give me and just give it as a discount to any clients that I send to you. So the nice thing is you don't have to haggle, you don't have to negotiate, you don't have to try and talk them down. That rate has already been pre-negotiated for you. And you know that it's going to be extremely competitive to the Royal LePages and Remaxes and anybody else that comes to your door, okay, who you would normally be able to talk down in that 5% range. So the nice thing is great service, a little bit smaller company, and like I said, you don't have to worry that they're going to take you to the cleaners, okay? So because I trust them very much, I wanted to put them in front of you to give you a little bit of a presentation, and I'll add in some stories from some existing clients that I've dealt with over the last year. And they're going to talk about some real life situations that they've encountered. A couple of them, I believe, are with clients that I've sent them over the last little while, just to make you guys aware of what's out there. And you might find some situations are similar to yours. So take it away.
Wow.
Oh, thank you, Trish. I appreciate that.
Folks, I apologize. I have to have this mic, and you're kind of going, it's not any louder, and he's talking into the mic. It's not necessarily because it needs to be louder. It needs to be picked up by the television cameras and stuff that you're seeing around here. So you're kind of going, you should be talking louder. I'll just have to do it manually. My name is Ron James. I'm from Stone Mill. My colleague here, Aaron Fortune, we represent the Stone Mill brand and Stone Mill name. Just a quick little note about who Stone Mill is. We actually have a head office in Oakville. We are a custom home builder in Oakville with a realty division. I am the branch manager of the Oakville Realty side and also the sales and marketing director for the new home construction side. Aaron, my colleague, looks after our Ancaster operation, which includes Burlington all the way through to the Niagara Peninsula, and she's our branch manager out in that area. You can find us on the web at stonemill.ca or stonemillrealty.com. Before we begin, I want to maybe just share a story. Got a call. It was kind of an interesting one. It was the oddest thing that I had ever heard. This woman's on the phone and she's telling me a story that her husband had come home. And he basically said, "Honey, do you love me?" She said, "Of course, I love you." He said, "Do you really, really love me?" She said, 40 years of marriage, I really, really love you. He said, "And do you love me even if they took the business today, cleaned out our bank accounts, and we are now destitute? Will you still love me?" She said, "Yes, I will. I'll miss you." So what we wanted to talk a little bit about, this is, you'll see in your package, the presentation here. I'm not going to read the slides. I guess you figured out that you know how to do that already. but we want to talk about this kind of succession of events. So you'll see planning your move, the people involved, the process of moving, post-sales sales strategies, and of course, promotion. Aaron, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. Okay, so what we've done here, this is like a train ride a little bit. This is when, you know, the conductors used to kind of ride the rails with you. They would come and they would issue or they would punch your tickets, and they had 3 questions. Where have you been? Where are you now? And where are you going? So really, when we sit down and have an opportunity to work with any of our clients that are considering the right size move, we want to take them through that similar journey. We want to understand their thought process of what they have right now and where they want to be. And then, of course, figuring out how we can actually make that the easiest process, easiest step forward that we can. Now, I know what happens when it gets to the point, the last point here, the last W on this, is the why. And it really is about hesitations. And I know when Aaron and Mark and I have talked about the clients that we have worked with on Mark's behalf, one of the things that we tend to do during the process, right after our initial meeting, during the process, and of course during the sale of the property, is the emotional ride. This isn't just the technical side of selling real estate, and I think this is where Mark's kind of intimated that there's a number of wonderful realtors out there that are great technical people. They can get the job done. However, we can tell you from experience working with Mark's clients that there's more to this than just the technical side of selling real estate. And maybe some feedback that you've been getting from people on fear?
Absolutely. You know, again, why